Hey guys, so this is our third video of the day, and this is the you do portion or the we do portion of our lesson. I'm going to be reading a couple of texts for you, and then what I want you to do for every question is I want you to pause the video and answer it, then unpause the video, and you'll hear me go over the correct answer. Okay, so this text is called The Monkeys and the Moon. And if you notice underneath the title, it says it's a Tibetan folktale. So it's an Indian folktale. Remember, folktales are stories that have been passed down from generation to generation, and they do have a theme. It's kind of like a fable, okay, like the Lion and the Mouse, or some of the Ungrateful Tiger that we've read in the past already. Actually need to plug my iPad up. Sorry about that. Okay, so let's go ahead and start reading. So this text starts with, in long past times, there lived a band of monkeys in a forest. As they rambled about, they saw the reflection of the moon in a well. A leader of the band said, "Oh, friends, the moon has fallen into the well. The world is now without a moon. Ought not we draw it out?" The monkeys said, "Good, we will draw it out." So they began to hold counsel as to how they were to draw it out. Some of them said, "Do you not know? The monkeys must form a chain and so draw the moon out." So they formed a chain, the first monkey hanging onto the branch of a tree, and the second to the monkey's tail, and a third one in its turn to the tail of the second one. And when in this way they were all hanging on to one another, the branch began to bend a good deal. Okay, so if you look at the image here on the left, it actually illustrates what's going on in paragraph 4. You see, it's kind of like a barrel of monkeys, how they're all holding on to each other, but the branch is starting to bend. It says, the water became troubled, the reflection of the moon disappeared, and the branch broke, and all the monkeys fell into the well and were disagreeably damaged. A deity uttered this verse: "When the foolish have a foolish leader, they all go to ruin, like the monkeys which wanted to draw the moon up from the well." Okay, so let's think about the theme of this text. The monkeys are obviously our main characters. Okay, what lesson do the monkeys learn? Okay, so maybe they shouldn't have listened to that one monkey. And if he is foolish, then, and they all listen to him, then they're all going to suffer just as he did. Okay, all right, so that could be our possible theme. Let's look at this text. It is called The King's Fire Dogs, and it's a Korean folktale. And it starts out with, heaven contains just as many countries as the earth does. There is one called Land of Darkness, where there is a king who keeps huge, fierce dogs called fire dogs. This king is always trying to think of ways to bring more light to his country. One day, he called the biggest and most ferocious of his fire dogs and told it to go and bring him the sun. Off loped the dog and tried to seize the sun in his jaws, but the sun was so hot that it burned the dog's mouth. He snapped at it again and again, but could not hold on. He had to go back to his master with his tail between his legs. The king summoned his next biggest dog. He sent it to steal the moon for him, thinking that the moon wouldn't be as hot as the sun. But the second dog fared no better than the first. The moon was so cold that when he tried to bite it, the moon froze the dog's tongue to his mouth and made his teeth sing with pain. Hard as he tried, he could not hang on to the moon and had to spit it out. He too slunk back to the king. Still, the King of Darkness never gives up hope. Every now and then, he sends one of his fire dogs to try to steal the sun or the moon. You can see the bite marks whenever there is an eclipse. Okay, so this one is definitely a myth. Okay, so that's our genre of this text. It's telling how something came to be. It's trying to explain to you the different phases of the moon. You know, when you can see like the crescent and the full moon and a half moon, it's saying that those are bite marks out of the moon where one of the king's dogs has gone and bit the sun or the moon. So we know that that's not really what happened. It's just a story that tries to explain how something has happened in nature. All right, so let's go ahead and look at our first question together. Go ahead and pause the video, and I want you to look through the chart and go ahead and answer. You can use your own paper. Okay, you've unpaused the video. That means you've completed the chart. Let's look at what the directions say. It says complete the chart by drawing X's in the box next to the statements that describe monkeys in the moon and the fire dogs, or both tales. Okay. The first one says a leader wants to bring more light to his land. Which story did that take place in? Okay, you should have marked that took place in the King's Fire Dogs. All right, a leader wants to rescue the moon. Okay, that was the monkeys and the moon. Now, the moon was in both text, but the King's Fire Dogs, he did not want to rescue the moon. He wanted to capture it. Okay, the next one says a leader sends out a dog to bring back the moon. Okay, that was the King's Fire Dogs. Okay, the next one says characters reach out to touch the moon. Okay, that's going to be the monkeys in the moon. The dog did not reach out to touch it. He tried to bite it. Okay, the next one says a character cannot hold on to the moon. That was the Fire Dogs. It was too cold. A character never gives up hope of capturing the moon. That was the King's Fire Dogs. Okay. The monkeys, it didn't say at the end that they never gave up hope. All right. The next one says the characters never reach their goal. Well, that actually happened in both texts, right? How did that happen in the monkeys in the moon? Were they able to return the moon? No, that they didn't reach their goal of rescuing the moon. Did the king capture the moon? No, neither one reached their goal. Look at the next question. It says the characters agree to work together on a solution to a problem. Okay, that was the monkeys in the moon where they decided to work together. And the last one, some characters leave marks showing that they are still trying to reach their goal. That's going to be the last text, because the mark that it's talking about here is the moon when it is in its different phases throughout the month. Okay? All right, great job on that one, guys. Go ahead and pause the video and answer question number 2. Okay, you've unpaused the video, which means you've completed this question. It says, which statement below best describes a pattern of events that is true of both passages? So I'm looking at the events. How are the events in the two passages the same? Or what's something they have in common? A, to avoid hurting themselves, the characters give up on their plans. B, the characters capture the moon to bring more light to their countries. Did they both capture the moon? No. Okay. C, and it can't be A either because the monkeys hurt themselves. Look at C. Though trying to be helpful, the characters make unwise decisions. Possibly. Let's look at D. Because they don't listen carefully to orders, the characters make mistakes. Let's look back in the text about the dog. Okay. Did they not follow orders? No, they followed orders, didn't they? Okay, so I think this one, it's not going to be A, because they didn't give up. It's not going to be B, because they're not trying to bring more, both texts are not trying to bring light to their countries. See, I don't think that one because of the king. I guess it's going to be C. That's going to be our best choice, is that though they both were trying to be helpful, they both made unwise decisions. Okay? All right, look at number 3. Go ahead and pause the video and answer, and then you can unpause and we'll go over this one. Okay, you've read question number 3 and you have answered the questions. It's asking for 2 statements. So I know I've got to pick 2. So it says, read the saying from paragraph 5, The Monkeys and the Moon. When the foolish have a foolish leader, they all go to ruin. Okay, so I need to pick one detail from each text that explains what the meaning of this phrase is. A says the characters are hurt because they obey impossible orders. That could be it, because they are both hurt, the monkeys and the dogs. Look at B. The characters agree to bring more light into the world. Okay. Now, remember, we're picking sentences that show that when you have a foolish leader, everyone gets hurt. Okay. So I don't think it's going to be B. All right, look at C. The characters never learn their lesson and still give advice. That's not going to be it. Look at D. The characters wrongly conclude that a problem exists and fail to fix it. Possibly that they failed to fix it. Look at E. The characters try to reach for a thing that keeps disappearing. No. The characters decide to follow their leader on a hard and dangerous journey. Yes. Okay, that's for sure going to be one. And this one also. Okay. So those both support that if you have a foolish leader, everyone gets hurt. The characters are hurt. The characters decide to follow the leader on a dangerous journey. Okay. All right. So it should have been A and F. Okay, let's look at this one. It asks us to compare the beginning, the middle, and the end of each story. Go ahead and pause the video and fill in the graphic organizer. Okay, you've taken a moment to do your work, and it's asking us to compare and contrast the patterns of events in both stories. What are the leaders like? What happens when the other characters help their leaders? How do earlier events influence the story outcomes, etc.? So if we look right here on our graphic organizer, okay, what happens at the beginning of The Monkeys and the Moon? Well, the leader wants to save the moon. Okay, what happens in the middle? That's where he convinces the other monkeys and they develop a plan. Okay, and in the end, they all fall. Okay, because the plan wasn't really a wise plan, and they all end up hurt in the end. Okay, so at the beginning of The King's Fire Dogs, what does the king want to do? He wants to bring more light to his kingdom. Okay, so in the middle, he sends out dog 1, and he comes back without anything. He sends out dog 2, he comes back without anything. And in the end, he still has neither sun nor moon. Okay, so that's how that story ends. Okay, let's do a do what here, and then we're going to stop for today. Because it is almost time for me to log in for my live class. So the first verb that I see is use. Okay, use what? The info in the chart that we just did. Okay, to compare and contrast. Okay, so that's an action. Compare and contrast. Well, what am I comparing and contrasting? The events in the folktales. It says to include. Okay, include what? Include details from both tales to support. I better put that, details from both tales to support. That's action. To support means to back it up, our response or our answer. Okay, so what kind of writing would this be? If I'm using information and I'm comparing and contrasting, you hit the nail on the head. It's going to be an informational prompt. So I'm taking on the role of a teacher. And as a teacher, when I write, I'm going to compare and contrast the events and write about them. So Thursday, we'll come back and we'll plan that out on our graphic organizer. Okay? All right. Great job, guys. So, I want you to go ahead and take today's Mastery Connect quiz. It is only 3 questions long. One of the texts is a text that we have done in the past, the lion and the mouse. but the other is about two little monkeys and a fish. So it is a new story for you. Go ahead and take this because you will have a new one on Thursday. So go ahead today, right now, go ahead and log in and take your Mastery Connect quiz. Okay. All right, guys, I'll see you on Thursday.